भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। Is it on there? Maybe if that boy is there. Good. Press this. You have to press this and give it to me. क्या जी? That boy will come. So we are doing this now. You see, तथापि आत्मविज्ञानस्य फलपर्यन्तत्वात् न तद्विषयस्य शास्त्रस्य न तद्विषयस्य शास्त्रस्य प्रामाण्यं शक्यं प्रत्याख्यातुम्. So this is what we were doing. You see, the validity of Vedanta Pramana cannot be refuted on the basis of, on the basis of the assumption or on the basis of the fact that it cannot give me, it cannot put me into action. Vedanta Jnanam is useless because it doesn't make me do actions. And you can't say that. The usefulness does not lie in doing action or not doing action. The usefulness lies in my gaining what I want. If it gives me what I want fundamentally every jiva wants to be free from struggle. So if Vedanta Jnanam can liberate me from the struggle of searching for something, and by way of helping me discover my already existing obtaining fullness, then it is useful. Because we are used to as a karta, Jiva as a karta is so much used to doing karma, and his whole idea of usefulness, is confined to action and result. He thinks only action is useful and material result is useful. His very concept of usefulness is confined to karma phala. And against this background, he judges Vedanta as useless because it doesn't, help me perform actions. It doesn't involve actions and results. It involves only knowing what is. Vedanta means knowing what is. So knowing what is of no use. In fact, doing and gaining is useful. This is how a karma mimamsaka thinks. That is how everybody thinks. Now here Bhashyakara says, you can't refute the pramanyam of Vedanta just because it doesn't involve any karma and material phala. Why? Phala paryantatva. It has phalam. What is that phalam? And that jnanam, atma vijnanasya phala paryantatvat means self-knowledge is something that is synonymous with knowledge. I am using this term, knowledge, as synonymous with freedom. Because between knowing and freedom from the error that I am limited, knowing myself as I am, and the notion that I am limited, so between the knowledge that I am the unlimited being and freedom from the sense of limitation, between the two there is no time gap. As in the case of karma and phala, there is a vyavadhanam, kala vyavadhanam. Between action and result, there is always time gap. I do an action and wait for the result, which may come, which may not come. But when it comes to knowledge, self-knowledge, knowledge of a fact, in fact, knowledge of any fact, about which I have a notion, a wrong notion. Now, between knowing that fact and freedom from the wrong notion about it, between the two there is no kala vyavadhanam. That absence of kala vyavadhanam between knowing and freedom, knowledge and freedom, between knowledge and freedom, that absence of kala vyavadhanam is what is referred to as phala paryantatva. That paryantatvam, phala, it culminates in knowledge, in phala. Knowledge culminates in fruit. Knowledge culminates in fruit. What does it mean? Knowledge is some between knowledge and the fruit of that knowledge. There is no time. This is one vision of it. This is one sense that we have to capture. That between knowledge of a fact and freedom from ignorance about it, between knowledge of a fact and freedom from the distortion about it, between the two there is no kala vyavadhanam. That it does free me is one sense, and that it does free me involving no time gap. It has phalam unlike karma. Karma has phalam in time, but knowledge has phalam. When we say immediately, we mean only this. It is synonymous. It is not possible for the right knowledge to take place without correcting wrong knowledge. Now tell me, between the right knowledge and the correction of the wrong knowledge, is there any really time sequence? At this second right knowledge, and then in the next second correction of wrong knowledge. Just because they are two expressions, we get the bhranti of a sequence. Because we can't think of two things without a sequence in the mind. We can't think of two without a sequence. Correction, right understanding, and correction of the wrong understanding are at the same time involving no time. And that is what is called phala paryantatvat. Phala paryantatvat na tad vishayasya shastrasya. The shastram that is meant to give that kind of knowledge, uska pramanyam, its validity, na shakyam pratyakyatum, it is not possible. Not possible to refute. Okay, this we have seen. That means, if you say actions are useful in time, I am saying knowledge is useful right then and there. You say action is useful for a material result, and self-knowledge is useful in the sense that it liberates you from the very need for doing action and result. It liberates the jiva from the very need, from the very reason, that which prompts me towards actions and results. That reason is inner reason. That inner reason is that I don't understand myself as already a free being. So self-ignorance and self-error is the reason behind the felt need for actions and results. That very need is negated by knowledge. Is that not usefulness? It's like, and I'll give an example. This thing will be reflected on. The topic has to sink into the mind. This particular point, supposing somebody has a desire, somebody wants to drink, and you give him a bottle, so it is useful for him. But supposing I help him to get out of the very desire for drinking, is it not useful? Is it not useful? Is it prayojanavat or aprayojanavat? Prayojanavat. In that manner, we think of actions and results as useful, but Vedanta Jnanam liberates us from the very need for actions and results in time by way of correcting our view about ourselves. We happen to be already the free being. We already happen to be the eternal being, taken as a non-eternal form. And Vedanta corrects that view, wrong view. That way it is prayojanam. Exactly like that drishtantam. Giving a bottle to a man is useful, but Vedanta is like, when you liberate him, somehow or other you teach him and discover something in him on the basis of which really he is out of the desire. It is also useful. Okay, now this we have to see it very, very, very patiently. Next point. The next point is that the Purvapakshi is trying to establish the validity of Vedanta by way of inference. You can't establish the validity of a pramanam on the basis of an inference. You see, like that my eyes are valid for seeing is not an inference. That my eyes are valid is self-evident because they see. I don't infer that I see. Hey Rama. We can't infer. Are you seeing the world? Yes, I infer that I am seeing the world. Say every inference is based upon perception. Now perception itself cannot be a matter for inference. So, the validity of our eyes is self-evident. The validity of the senses is self-evident. Similarly, Vedanta being a pramanam, its validity also is self-evident because it is talking about something that is very evident. The very person. It's talking to me about myself. Myself as really evident in all my experience. Because unless I have existence, I can't have a given experience. I can't have a waking experience unless I am there. I can't have a dream experience unless I am there. I can't have even sleep experience unless I am there. Therefore, Vedanta is talking about me whose existence is unquestionable. Because it is talking about the unquestionably evident me, it has Praman, it has validity, Shabda Praman. Why else it is a Pramanam and all that subtler things we will see later on. It is pramanam because it is valid. It is a valid means of knowledge about myself because it talks to me about my nature, which is absolutely evident but unregistered, and it talks to me about my nature which is not available for the senses. It's not available for other pramanams. Therefore, Vedanta is as much Swatah Pramanam as even the senses for the objects. Clear? Once the Shabda is a Swatah Pramanam, then I don't have to infer its validity on the basis of something else. Like this Mimamsaka is inferring like this. Karmakanda is valid. Karmakanda is valid because it helps me perform actions and gain material pleasures. Karmakanda is valid because it helps me perform actions and gain results in the form of pleasures. Therefore, Vedanta also can be valid only when it also helps me perform physical and mental worships, actions, and help me gain results. What is this? Just as Karmakanda Pramana facilitates action and material result, so should every Pramana facilitate action and result. Therefore, Vedanta becomes a Pramanam. According to him, Vedanta becomes a Pramanam only if it falls in line with the Karmakanda. Karmakanda is the Drishtantam. The Pramanyam, the Pramanyam of Karmakanda is Drishtam. The Pramanyam of the Karmakanda is Drishtam. And Drishtam becomes a Drishtantam. And Vedanta, the validity of the Vedanta Pramana is Anumitam, inferred. The Pratigna Vakyam of this particular inference is wherever there is a Pramana, it should help me perform actions and results. What is the Pratigna Vakyam? Because in every inference, this is the first Pratigna Vakyam. Wherever there is a Pramanam, it has to help me, it has to give me knowledge, which knowledge should help me in performing actions and results. Like the sense organs give me the knowledge of the objects, which knowledge helps me perform actions and gain results. Science gives me knowledge, which knowledge helps me perform actions and gain results, material results. Karmakanda also gives me knowledge which helps me perform rituals and gain results. Therefore, the pratigna, the general statement should be, well, wherever there is a pramanam, wherever there is any knowledge anywhere should help me perform actions and gain results. This is called pratigna vakya. Any knowledge in creation should help me perform actions and gain results. Knowledge has no purpose. Knowledge is not useful unless it helps me perform actions and gain results. Clear? This is called pratigna vakyam. Every knowledge has to help me perform actions and gain results. As in the case of karma kanda, as in the case of perception, as in the case of अपराविद्यास दृष्टांत भी हो गया. Why should, I mean, if we can follow it. What is pratigna vakyam? Every knowledge is useful, any knowledge is useful only if it helps me perform actions and gain material results, called pratigna vakyam. Hetu. Then immediately after pratigna you have to have hetu. What is the reason hetu? The hetu is because there is no prayojanam outside actions and results. You see his logic? There is no joy, there is no happiness, there is no pleasure, there is no fulfillment outside actions and results. That is what hetu. Then after hetu we have to give drishtantam. What is the drishtantam? Karma kanda bad, as in the case of the knowledge of the rituals, as in the case of sense perception, as in the case of aparavidya, science. All this knowledge is useful because it helps us perform actions and gain material results. And therefore, nigamanam is conclusion. Therefore, Vedanta Jnanam also can be useful only when it helps me perform actions and gain results. Brahma Vidya also becomes useful only as a facilitator of actions and results. If it doesn't, it is useless. Now we can't say really Brahma Vidya is useless because it has been given and therefore somehow or other we have to interpret Brahma Vidya as useful by way of helping me perform actions. Therefore Brahma Jnanam cannot be an end in itself. Brahma Jnanam has to be used in performing Brahma Upasana, etc., etc., and wait for the result. It cannot. This whole thing is what we call Anumana. This is what we call Anumana. Therefore, the Vedanta is valid. Purvapakshi is inferring the validity, meaning Vedanta is also valid because it gives me the knowledge that is useful for actions and results. In this manner, I am inferring the validity of Vedanta Pramanam. Against that, Siddhanta is telling the Pramanyam of a Pramanam is not available for inference. It is self-evident, Swata Siddham. If Pramanyam of a Pramanam is to be inferred, then the validity of that inference has to be inferred by another inference, and the validity of that inference has to be, inferred. It will lead us to anavastha dosha, regress ad infinitum. Therefore, pramanam means it has to be swatah pramanam, na paratah pramanam. That is it. Please read the next line. If you have followed it, I am very happy about it. If you haven't followed it, we will come back again. Else we have to keep doing it. Don't have to do it. Nacha anumanagamyam shastra pramanyam yena anyatra drishtam nidarshanam apeksheta nacha anumana gamyam shastra pramanyam. The shastra pramanyam is not anumana gamyam. It's not the validity of the Vedanta pramanam as a means of self-knowledge is not something that has to be inferred through another pramanam. Yena, by which anyatra drishtam, what is seen in karmakanda, our observation of the karmakanda jnanam, our observation of pratyaksha jnanam, or our observation of the aparavidya jnanam, anyatra drishtam, nidarshanam means these analogies, apeksheta would be necessary. It is not that we have to infer the Vedanta pramanyam, and for inferring which we require the drishtantas. It is not that we have to infer the validity of Vedanta pramanam on the basis of the drishtantas like karmakanda, etc. Karmakanda observation is not required. Karmakanda jnanam as a drishtantam is not required for establishing the pramanyam of Vedanta. Like when we see the smoke on the mountain, we infer that there is fire on the basis of my general observation that wherever there is fire, there has to be, and wherever there is smoke, there has to be fire. So here I am seeing smoke on the mountain. Therefore, I don't see fire here. I don't see fire here. I see only smoke. Even though I don't see fire, but I infer that there is fire because I have seen elsewhere the connection between the smoke and the fire, and therefore I have the pratigya vakyam, that is the universality of a phenomenon is what is called vyapti. That vyapti is yatra yatra thumaha tatra tatra vanhi. Wherever there is smoke, there has to be fire. This is called vyapti on the basis of my observation called drishtanta. Drishtanta means this is how really I observe, and a given drishtanta I can give like in the paka grihavat, as in the case of my kitchen. Whenever I see smoke, I saw fire. Just one example. In this manner we say wherever there is knowledge, now here, according to the Puru Pakshi, wherever there is knowledge and it becomes useful only as the facilitator of action and material result, because that is how I have observed. Therefore, what is pratigya vakyam? Wherever there is knowledge, knowledge is useful. Wherever there is knowledge, it is useful only as the facilitator of action and result. Okay? What is the drishtantam? Karma kadavat. In fact, any knowledge we can give. Pratyaksha jnanam vat, science vat. You can say that. This is called inference. Therefore, if knowledge in general is useful only to help me do actions and gain results, then Vedanta also is a jnanam anyway, it is Brahma jnanam. So Brahma jnanam also should be useful for me to perform actions and gain material results. This is how the Mimamsaka thinks. This is how the Karmakandi thinks. That is being objected to by the Siddhanta. Next sentence. Tasmat Siddham Brahmana Shastra Pramanakatvam. Therefore, the validity of Vedanta Pramana is well established. You can't question the validity of a means of knowledge. A means of knowledge is valid by itself. Once you say it is a means of knowledge, it is valid in itself. Like the eyes are the means to see the forms, then alone it is a means of knowledge. And if I have a doubt about a color, I can't consult the ear, I have to consult my eyes, because that is the sole means. And when it comes to the sounds, ears are the sole means. So senses are the sole means to perceive the world. Similarly, Shabda becomes the sole means to understand myself. Shabda here means the teaching given to me about myself on the basis of my anubhava of my existence. So when we make a statement, the words create knowledge about myself, people simply, belittle us. How can a Vakya create knowledge? How can the words of Vedanta create knowledge? I say words are teaching me, turning my attention to my existence as experienced in all the three states. Unless I hear them, I never think about my existence as obtaining in three states. I never think about them because my whole thinking is in terms of objectification. I don't think about anything except by objectification. I only think of forms and sounds and tastes and touches and smells. I look at the world as visible, audible, tastable, touchable, smellable. I look at myself also as visible, audible, tastable, touchable, smellable. I look at myself also as an object. I don't think of myself in terms of the subject. I think of the world in terms of forms, and I think of myself also in terms of a form. I don't think of myself in terms of the conscious subject, which is not visible, audible, tastable, touchable, smellable, rememberable even. The conscious subject of the three states, the subject of the waking dream and their negation. In those terms, the jiva never thinks. And whenever a person independent of Vedanta thinks, he will end up in some mystical imagination. He will end up in some mystical conclusions. He would say a light inside, vagera, vagera, vagera. You read autobiography of a yoga, then all those terms you will understand. But all mystical ways one can think about the truth, you can know. What's autobiography? The autobiography of a yogi is the pramanam in this world. Patani. Somebody, Swamiji, have you read that book, autobiography? You haven't read? I said, yes, I have read. It's very good. We can also read. Isn't it true, Swamiji? It's very popular in the world. What is autobiography of a yogi? Talking about ghosts sitting on the wall and looking at you. Seeing the dead parents in the waking state. The guru that is gone, he is always, I saw my guru there. Hey, what are you talking? If a person is not psychotic, he will become one. Psychotic visions, psychicness also is psychoticness when it comes to the truth. Psychic visions also are nothing but psychotic visions when it comes to the truth. Therefore, man does not ever think about himself as the subject, unnegatable subject of all the experiences. And the experience must include waking and dream and their negation. Their negation must come within experience. There is experience pertaining to the negation of the waking and the dream, but never the negation of experience. You can never go through negation of an experience. And if you go through the negation of an experience, that itself is an experience. Negation of experience must be your experience. Otherwise, what is the proof? Negation of an objective experience is also an experience. It is my knowledge. That the waking and dream disappear in deep sleep is not our belief. You register the statement, it will help you in thinking. Deep sleep is not a belief. say this in the mind again and again. Deep sleeps, our deep sleep is not our belief. Our deep sleep state is not our belief. And yet we say it is. I can't doubt it. And it's not a belief. It is there, but it is not a belief. I don't believe that I had sleep. Everybody knows that he had sleep. Therefore, what is sleep? The unnegatable subject of the three states, the eternal. In terms of that subject, nobody thinks. Vedanta comes and points out man's existence as the unnegatable subject. Not only is unnegatable, is much more. Does the subject, even though in language we say, I am the subject, this is the object, I am the subject, this is the object, but the meaning of that word subject is also another form. Is it not? I am the subject, all right, the table is object, I am the subject, but what is the subject is another form. Another form. But the subject of the three states is the topic of, is what is pointed out by the Shabda. In that way, Shabda becomes Pramanam and it is Mutaha Pramanam. Now next, Tasmat Siddham Brahmanaha Shastra Pramanakatvam Atra Apare Pratyavatishthante. Atra, in this matter, Apare, some other school, Pratyavatishthante, stand up. They stand up with objection. Here is another objection to Vedanta being a pramanam in the matter of Brahma Jnanam, which is an end in itself, which itself is synonymous with the human freedom. The understanding of the self and gaining freedom from the self, whereas between the two there is no time gap. In this matter, alone Shastram is Pramanam. Well, when we say, now here is another school which says, which gets up and asks, puts up an objection. That is called Pratyavatishthante, stand opposed. Like Pratyudaharanam, Udaharanam and Pratyudaharanam. Pratyavatishthante means stand opposed. Avatishthante means stand. Pratyavatishthante, stand opposed. Tishtati with upasarga becomes apneta. Avatishthante. Tishtati, but avatishthate. So in Bahuvachanam it would be avatishthante. Prati is anupasarga. Prati plus upatishthante. Pratyupatishtante. Yana का आदेश होता है. Pratyupatishtante. Okay. Now the school that stands opposed now is called Vrittikara Matam. It's called a Vrittikara. There was a school called Vrittikara. Anyway, that doesn't matter. There is another objection. Please read. Yajyapi Shastra Pramanakam Brahmam Tathapi Pratipatti Vidhi Vishayataya Eva Shastrena Brahmam Samarpyate. He says, Yajyapi, even though. Now this person says, yes, accepted. What is accepted? That the Vedanta is a valid means by which we can know Brahman. Shastram, Vedanta Shastram is a valid pramanam for Brahma Vidya. Accepted. Now let us not get into that. The first, hitherto the objection was that Vedanta Shastram has no pramanyam unconnected to Karma Kanda. Hitherto the paksha was that Vedanta is not valid unconnected to karma, unrelated to karma. Now this person says, okay, in the matter of Brahma Vastu, Vedanta cannot be Pramanam. We have said Shastram being a Tota Pramanam, it is a valid means by which you can know Brahman. Arguments we have seen for and against. And now he says, yes, Vedanta can be accepted as a valid means of knowledge of Brahman. Meaning Vedanta does unfold Brahman. Accepted, sir. Vedanta does unfold Brahman. Then what is the problem? Problem to abhi shuru hone wala hai. Yajyapi Shastra Pramanakam Brahma, even though Brahman is the topic of Vedanta Shastra, Shastra Praman Vala Brahma. Pramanakam means Praman Vala. What is Brahman? Brahman is something which is unfolded by Shastra, Vedanta Shastra. Yajyapi Shastra Pramanakam Brahma, even though Brahman is unfolded by Shastram, but yet tathapi, but still, Pratipatti Vidhi Vishayataya Eva, only as a topic of Upasana. Pratipatti Vidhi. Pratipatti Vidhi means Upasana Vidhi. Pratipatti Vidhi means Upasana Vidhi. Vishayata. Vishaya means the object. Vishayataya eva, as the object of Upasana. As the object of Upasana Vidhi. Upasana Vidhi means the Vedanta says you should worship Brahman. You should worship Brahman. Now, when you sit down to worship Brahman, you should worship Brahman in your mind. That is the Vidhi. Worship Brahman in your mind. Okay? Now you become interested in worshipping Brahman in your mind. Now, but if I have to worship Brahman in my mind, I should know Brahman. Therefore, to help me, what is the Vidhi? Worship Brahman. But how can I worship Brahman unless I know Brahman? Okay, here is the knowledge of Brahman. Then what does it become, that knowledge? Vidhi Vishaya. Vidhi Vishaya means what? As an object of my Upasana, which is prescribed by Veda. Veda prescribes for me the worship of Brahman. That is called Vidhi. Vidhi means what? Veda prescribing for me, hey, do it. That is called Vidhi. That you must capture. Hey, do this. Worship Brahman in your mind. If you want to get some big result, hey, worship Brahman. worship Brahman is what is called Vidhi. But I can't worship Brahman unless I have some knowledge of it. Therefore, some knowledge of Brahman it gives. Therefore, Vedanta unfolds Brahman not as an independent reality. Vedanta unfolds Brahman not as an independent, not as a reality, not as an independent reality. But it unfolds Brahman as an object of my worship. Like Vedanta talks about Indra. Vedanta, Karmakanda talks about Indra. And think of Indra at the time of ritual. Indraya Swaha. When you say, you think of Indra. Here also when you say Gangarpanamastu, then what do you think? Ganga ji. Agar supposing you have never seen Ganga ji, how can you say Gangarpanamastu? Or at least you must have some knowledge that there is something called Ganga ji in Rishikesh, in Haridwar, jahan log jaate hain, pehle jaate hain, aate hain, jaate hain, aate hain, baad mein jaate hain, phir aate nahi. So that you must have some knowledge about Ganga ji. That knowledge is connected to my upasana, I worship. Similarly, when you say Indraya Swaha, I think of Indra. And then for thinking of Indra, I must have some description of Indra. And that description is given by Karmakanda. What is that description? Vajrahastaha Purandaraha. Indra is Vajrahastaha. He is always with the Vajram in his hand. Some idea you have, and that idea can help you to think of Indra. When you say Indraya Swaha. In that manner, when you worship Brahman, then you must have some idea of Brahman. That idea I get when I listen to the description of Brahman, and the description of Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Understand? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman Yo Shrute Sarvaan Kamaan Saha Brahmana Vipashchiteti. This is all what? Description of Brahman, which gives me an idea of Brahman, which can help me in worshipping Brahman. Therefore, Vedanta unfolds, describes the Brahman not as a vastu, but as a vidhi vishaya. That is what is called pratipatti vidhi vishayataya eva, as an object of upasana. Eva shastrena, by the shastra, brahma samarpyate, Brahman is unfolded, Brahman is presented. Samarpyate yak, samarpayati. Nich. When you add nich, it is samarpayati. Yak. Samarpyate. Samarpyate means what? Samarpit kiya jata hai means is presented. Brahman is presented to me by the Vedanta Shastra. Brahman is unfolded for me. Brahman is unfolded for me only as an object of vidhi. Thus, vidhi vishayataya eva. Vishayataya eva Brahma Shastrena samarpyate. Not as an independent reality, unconnected to any kriya. A reality that is unconnected to struggle, a reality that is unconnected to actions, a reality that is unconnected to results is not how it is presented by Shastram. Shastram always presents for me the Brahman as an object of my worship, as an object of my objectification, as an object of my attitude, my devotion, as an object of my mental worship, so that in time that worship will bring me the result. In that manner, Brahman is the topic of Vedanta, but not as a Svatasiddha Vastu, but as a Vidhi Vishaya. I don't say Vedanta is not valid in the matter of Brahman. It is valid, it is a pramanam, it is valid in describing Brahman. It does correctly describe Brahman, but as Vidhi Vishaya. I don't doubt the Shastra's validity in describing the Brahman, but it describes Brahman only as an object of my worship. It doesn't unfold Brahman as an independent truth, as Svatasiddha Vastu. Yatha Rupa Ahavaniyadini Alaukikanyapi Vidhi Seshataya Shastrena Samarpyante Tadvat. Just as there is something called Yupa. Now you have to patiently hear. You have to understand, you have to concentrate on what you do. Nahi to nahi hoga. Yupa is a kind of a wooden post. A wooden post, when we give sanskara to it, it gets the name Yupa, used in a yajna. The moment I give it some sanskara, Vaidika sanskara, it becomes alaukikam. As a wooden stump, laukikam. As Sanskrita, it becomes alaukikam. So it is always connected, it is always used as a part of my rituals. Alaukikam yupa is used in my karma. Ahavaniya, Agni, the fire is called Analaha. This simple Analaha, if it is something that is given sanskara, it becomes Ahavaniya. It is Ahavaniya. There is something called Garhapatya, a place in which you keep the fire on throughout without break. In any Agnihotri's house, if there is anyone in the country, that fire is kept on, and from that fire you take an ember or a few sparks, and then in the morning you lit you perform the ritual. We don't take out the match and then do it. You have to bring it. That is why it is called Ahavaniya. It is brought from the Garhapatya. Now, let us call it as a fire that has already been given sanskara. Then it becomes what? Alaukikam, Ahavaniya. But it is not Laukikam. What is it? Alaukikam. It is a wooden post, but a few mantras make it Alaukikam. Listen to this point very well. It is fire, but a few mantras make it Alaukikam. Just as though Yupa is Alaukikam, though Ahavaniya is Alaukikam, these Alaukika things are used in the karma. Laukikas are used in the karma, alaukikas also are used in karma. The laukikam itself with a sanskara becomes alaukikam. Now understand this. Now this is their definition of laukikam and alaukikam. यहाँ पर तो बहुत बड़ी point है. There is a big breakthrough here. The very laukikam with a sanskara becomes alaukikam. Therefore, for a karmakandi, the very laukikam is looked upon as alaukikam. What is Brahma Vastu? Alaukikam. So just as the alaukika yupa, alaukika agni is used in karma, similarly the alaukikam Brahman is also used only in karma. Used in upasana. Upasana also is a karma. It's an action, mental action. It's a kriya root. Manasa kriya. Clear, I know. Therefore, that point is making yatha, just as, now look into the sentence, just as yatha, yupa, the yupa, ahavaniya, the fire, adini, etc. The details like a wooden post or fire, adini, alaukikanyapi, even though they are alaukikas. Adini, Adi is neuter gender, therefore Adini, alaukikani api, even though they are alaukika objects. Vidhi seshataya, as connected to vidhi. What is vidhi? A vidhi of a statement of action, a statement of injunction. Do this. That is called vidhi. Satyam vada. What is it? Vidhi. Because this word vidhi ka shabd ka arth nahi malum hua Vedanta. Padhne walon ko, everything becomes a mess. We say Brahma Vidya is not a vidhi. Swami ji, uska arth kya hota hai? Vedanta is not a vidhi means what? It is not an action. Therefore, the entire karma kanda is what? Vidhi shastram. What is karma kanda? Vidhi pratishedha shastram. It is a shastram that talks about actions to be done, actions not to be done. It only talks about actions to be done, actions not to be done. In that way, what is karma kanda? Vidhi pratishedha shastram. And when we come to Vedanta, Vedanta is not talking the actions to be done or the actions not to be done. It is only talking about what you are, not what you should do. Vedanta is not talking about what you should do or what you should not do. It is talking about what you are essentially. You are indeed the eternal being. It is unfolding what you are, not what you should do or not do. Karma kanda talks about what you should do and what you should not do. Vedanta talks about what you are. In recognizing what I am, the Shastra says you are liberated. And you can understand also, it is a liberating knowledge because it is recognizing that I am already free. And that is not a vidhi. Understand how Vedanta is not a vidhi shastra. Why? Vedanta is not talking. Vedanta is not talking about. Vedanta is not talking about what one should do or what one should not do. Vedanta is talking about what one is, ununderstood by himself. In that way, what is Vedanta? It is not Vidhi Shastram, it is Vastu Pratipadaka Shastram. Vastu means what is. Pratipadaka means unfolding, unfoldment, unfolder. So what is Vedanta? Vastu Pratipadaka Shastra. What is Karma Kanda? Vidhi Shastram. And in fact, when you look at man's life, his whole life is what? Vidhi Shastram. विधि शास्त्र ही है, पूरा जीवन क्या है? विधि प्रतिषेध शास्त्र. It is more of विधि शास्त्र rather than प्रतिषेध शास्त्र. बस इतना ही है. I only go on thinking about what I should do. I never think about what I should not do. I think less of प्रतिषेध and more of विधि. क्या करूं, क्या नहीं करूं. Okay, let us put both. Otherwise that will create another confusion. What is life? Vidhi Pratisheda Shastram. Now here the author says, hey, just as Yupa, Ahavaniya, these are all used in the rituals, the karma, in that manner. Now see the next sentence. Next part of the sentence. Yatha yuva havaniyadini alaukikanyati vidhi seshataya, as connected to vidhi, as connected to kriya, as connected to the physical and mental action. Shastrena samarpyante, by shastra samarpyante are presented, are described. Yupa is described as connected to the ritual. Ahavaniya is described as connected to vidhi. Tatvat, in the same manner, Brahman is described as connected to vidhi. Yatha yupa ahavaniyatini vidhi seshataya eva samarpyante tatvat Brahma api. Brahman also is described in Vedanta as connected to vidhi. Vidhi means what? Action to be done, action not to be done. Brahman is described, which is useful for my upasana. Thus, Brahman is not unfolded in Vedanta Shastram as an ever-present reality, but it is presented only as the matter of mind. Vidhi, vidhisesham. It has vidhisesham. Bhagavan is talked about as a matter of worship, not as a reality of our being. In simplest terms, Bhagavan is unfolded. Vedanta talks about Bhagavan as a matter of our worship, not as a matter of our reality. In this manner, who is thinking? Purva Pakshi is thinking. That Purva Pakshi here is called Vrittikara. Clear? You can put a mark there. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. एक वाक्य दो वाक्य से ज्यादा क्या पढ़ा सकते हैं जी? एक वाक्य को पूरा अच्छी तरह से समझाना है. एक वाक्य को पूरा अच्छी तरह से समझाएंगे तो कितना टाइम लगेंगे? कम से कम 2-4 क्लास हो जाएंगे. मैं तो पूरा डिटेल्स में जाता हूँ नहीं, बिकॉज अदरवाइज यू विल ऑल बिकम अनकंफर्टेबल. And I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Go into those depths, you will all see क्या हो रहा है. वो थोड़ा ऊपर से थोड़ा बोलती, without leaving out the essentials. And therefore, शास्त्रम की गंभीरता को समझना ये सारी ना पढ़ के अगर कोई कहते हैं कि मैंने वेदांत पढ़ लिया हूँ, वही कहते हैं कि मैंने वेदांत पढ़ लिया हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने उधर का इधर का कनॉट प्लेस गए थे एक दिन, वहाँ पर अच्छा एक शॉप में गए थे, वहाँ पर एक अच्छा वेदांत की किताब मिल गया, कुछ कोई लिखे थे, कोई वो अमेरिका में रहते एक महात्मा ने वो लिखे हैं, मैं वो लाके मैं पूरा पढ़ चुका, मैं पढ़ डाला, तो पूरा मैं एक दिन बैठ के पूरा शाम तक पढ़ डाला। क्या पढ़ डाल, कहाँ वेदांत? दैट इज व्हाई वी से without the tradition, without the sampradaya, means bhashyam, without the traditional approach to Vedanta, there is no Vedanta. I am telling you, pakki baat. That's why Bhagavan says, Shankaracharya says, Astrajyopi, Panditopi, even if we have done all the Upanishads, we have studied all the Upanishads, Panditopi, even if you are a great scholar, even though you have gone through the whole Shastra, but if you have done it all untraditionally, Murkhavat, Vekshaniyana, you should be ignored like a Murkha. When it comes to Shastra. Astrajyopi, Sampradayam, ignorant of what is Sampradaya, traditional approach, that person Shastrajyopi, Panditopi, Asampradayam, Murkhavat, Vekshaniyana. You ignore. Ignore. Very true. Many people studying about Vedanta. Even if you say this and that, meditation, वगैरह वगैरह, it doesn't mean anything. कुछ नहीं होता है. That is why you should stop all these exercises, gimmicks. कहीं जाके जहाँ ठीक से पढ़ाते हैं उधर जाके जहाँ अच्छी तरह से शास्त्र पढ़ाते कहीं भी हो वो मिलना ही मुश्किल है. That is why I say this Vishwara Nugraham, to find a place where you can study traditional. नहीं के लिए जगह बहुत मिलेंगे. संप्रदाय के साथ जहाँ पढ़ाया जाता है वहाँ पर अगर वहाँ पर जाके रुचि से इंग्लिश से अगर पढ़े वो नहीं जाए to get the exam. I am not a Punjabi son. I love Punjabi science. Sanskrit, fundamentals of science, people becomes get into Shastra and Bhashya. That will take care of your entire Manana Jnana. Understanding कोई बड़ी बात. रोज must be right. The very understanding how Shastra will get Pramana itself, there is a four better. Shastra is a Pramana for teaching a reality that is within Anubhava and yet it is not an object of other Pramana but not recognized quote unquote. This whole statement is not unquote. That is not unquote. That means I have to see the meaning of this sentence. How does Vedanta become a Pramana? A Pramana, Vedanta is a Pramana that talks about a reality which is within my Anubhava and yet not an object of Pratyakshani Pramana which is there in all the three states is referring to something that is there in all the three states evidently and yet not an object of Pramanam, quote after quote, is itself not a Buddha's enlightenment. Seeing this point itself is seeing the truth. Seeing that the topic of Vedanta is what is in all the three states, that means seeing my existence as present in all the three states itself is therefore, in understanding the Shastra Pramanyam itself is enlightenment. Therefore, Shastra is not something that lets you down. Ever. That is why we say, Varikshalonan, Dharmajalan, Vivedamaya, Shamanan, Adhyasyanan, Vijnana is that Vijnanatham Gurumeva Vigachet. When body is Shodriyam Brahmanisham, better go and learn from a Shodriya and to understand the topic of Shodriya till now. And हमारा गुरु जी कहते थे, अगर ब्रह्मनिष्ठ हो ना हो कम से कम श्रोत्रिय को अच्छी तरह से, अगर कम से कम अच्छा ब्रह्मनिष्ठ क्यों नहीं होगा? If a person at least knows the sampradaya, even if he has not yet understood, if he knows the sampradaya, at least he will tell you exactly what is the right and you will think about it. If a person is not Shrodriya, he will always tell you, not doing not. It's like saying he doesn't know Vedanta, but he all talks about Vedanta. He has not studied Vedanta, how will he get Vedanta? Some statements like, his Arabian Nights kind of statements, Arabian Nights, they are all funny statements like weird arts statements. I have never come across that book again. It's a fantastic book. Anybody can read this language. It's a book that restricts you without your knowledge. Talks big things mean nothing. Really? I come up with poetry. There are some Urdu poetry in my God. It's not like Sham. It's the main. All very home. Similarly, if somebody heard Vishnu where doesn't talk about any Islam. Vedanta also doesn't talk about any Islam. Vedanta is talking about the subject of the three states. There is not any Islam. In fact, Hinduism is not Islam. I don't say that Vedanta doesn't belong to Hinduism. Right? What the trade of Hinduism is not talking about any Islam. It's talking about the truth. Us. That would come everything. Not a label. Especially as we use the word Hinduism doesn't mean the reason. And he said, Hindu said, I don't know whether you have all heard in April also, used to come to Mumbai. Say, I don't believe in, I haven't read it. I don't know what he said. But this is all mental creation. What is mental creation? How is a mental creation? The one is mental creation. That you are there is a mental creation. And anyway, even is one word, choiceless aware. Where did you get it from? How do you don't talk about deep sleep, then how do you talk about choiceless? If awareness is choiceless, means its existence is choiceless. That means it exists for eternity, which is without choice. And that you have to explain even to Sufi and awareness. And you don't talk about Sufi. In fact, you don't talk about the truth. He is all the time backing religions. You see? And at the end you see something else. You catch religions. These religions destroy. It's all mental creation, it's all cults, it's all nothing. Therefore, Because knowledge always depends upon means of knowledge. What is the means of knowledge? Right? Tell me. If you say, let us think together, that is pet phrase. Let us think together. Okay? Whether all the jivas ignorant together they think, it would still be ignorance. What is together? It is not many jivas. It is not many jivas put together will think on the basis of the pramana which everybody has. I have to think on the basis of my pramana. If you also join me, you have to base your thinking on pratyaksha pramana. I use anumana pramana. If you use anumana pramana, therefore we all think on the basis of pratyaksha and anumana. For that I don't require company. To think about reality on the basis of pratyaksha and anumana, I don't require company. Because the same anumana you have, the same anumana I have, and what is it? Let us think together. As if really you democratize your approach, you present to the world that you are not what we call a dictatorial thinker, but you want to present it as a very democratic reflection. Let us think together. Let us think together. Let us think together. Maybe we are also in need of thinking along with us, then why would we come to you? Why would we come? Therefore, Guru is not accepted ever. He always says no Guru. In all things together. Refusing Guru Dhamma is different from refusing Guru. There is a difference between Guru and Guru Dhamma. Misusing the word Guru, misusing the status of a Guru is a problem with everywhere. Anything can be misused. But there is a fact called a teacher. Shabda Pramana implies a teacher. And that is choiceless. Just as Shabda Pramana is choiceless for understanding the school. And the one who conveys that Shabda in whatever way, he becomes a teacher. Therefore, being taught is choiceless. Teaching is choiceless. That teaching is choiceless. If we can get teaching from air, it is all right. From thin air, if we can get teaching, all right. Akash Bhadya Akash Bole is how you are Brahman. So need that. But as a Uttara, somebody has to, what have to do? Says, I don't know. Then he used to flash on you together. But he used to pull his hair down. You think, hey Rama, ये क्या प्रारब्ध है? And he happens to be coming from my hometown. But he was a good human being. In the sense, very honest man. As an individual, it was not like this cult people accumulating money and doing this air-bearing